From the children of the divine will, the hours of the passion of our Lord Jesus Christ. Servant of God Luisa Picarita, the little daughter of the divine will. Soul, help me. Words of a suffering Jesus to Luisa at age 13 in a vision from her balcony of him carting the cross, which sparked in her an insatiable thirst to suffer for Jesus and souls. Value and effects of these hours of the Passion, from a letter of Luisa to Saint Annibale di Francia. Saint Annibale, I begin by reporting here a letter which the author, Luisa, sent me. Most Reverend Father, I am finally sending you the hours of the Passion, now written, and all for the glory of our Lord. I also include another sheet which contains the effects and the beautiful promises which Jesus makes to anyone who does these hours of the Passion. I believe that if one who meditates them is a sinner, he will convert. If he is imperfect, he will become perfect. If he is holy, he will become more holy. If he is tempted, he will find victory. If he is suffering, in these hours he will find the strength, the medicine, the comfort. And if his soul is weak and poor, he will find spiritual food and the mirror in which he will reflect himself continuously to be embellished and to become similar to Jesus, our model. I also tell you that these hours of the Passion is not so much that of narrating the story of the Passion, but rather the purpose is the reparation, uniting the different points of the Passion of our Lord with the diversity of the many offenses, and making worthy reparation for them together with Jesus, almost making up for all that the other creatures owe him. From this, the different ways of reparation present in these hours, in some sections one blesses, in others one compassionates, in others one praises, in others one comforts suffering Jesus, in others one compensates, in others one supplicates, prays and asks. Therefore I leave it to you, Reverend Father, to make known the purpose of these writings with a preface. Saint Annibale, the sheet about which the author of these hours of the Passion speaks at the beginning of her letter, contains what the Lord told her and is reported here below. April 10th, 1913, Volume 11. The recompense for those who do the hours of the Passion. And I, Luisa, tell me, my good, what will you give as recompense to those who will do the hours of the Passion the way you taught them to me? And he, my daughter, I will look at these hours, not as yours, but as done by me. I will give you my same merits as if I were in the act of suffering my Passion, and the same effects according to the dispositions of the souls. This, while they are on earth, and I could not give them a greater reward. Then, in heaven, I will place these souls in front of me, darting through them with darts of love and of contentments for as many times as they did the hours of my Passion, and they will dart through me. What a sweet enchantment this will be for all the blessed. September 6th, 1913, Volume 11. The hours of the Passion are the very prayers of Jesus. I, Luisa, was thinking about the hours of the Passion, which have now been written, and how they are without any indulgence. So, those who do them gain nothing, while there are many prayers enriched with many indulgences. While I was thinking of this, my always lovable Jesus, all kindness, told me, my daughter, through the prayers with indulgences one gains something, but the hours of my Passion, which are my very prayers, my reparations, and all love, have come out of the very depth of my heart. Have you perhaps forgotten how many times I have united myself with you to do them together, and I have changed chastisements into graces over the whole earth? So, my satisfaction is such and so great that instead of the indulgence, I give the soul a handful of love, which contains incalculable prices of infinite value. And besides, when things are done out of pure love, my love finds its outpouring, and it is not insignificant that the creature gives relief and outpouring to the love of the Creator. October 1914, Volume 11. The effectiveness of these hours depends on whether the soul does them in union with Jesus and in His will. How Jesus desires that souls do the hours of the Passion. I, Luisa, was writing the hours of the Passion, and I thought to myself, how many sacrifices in order to write these blessed hours of the Passion, especially to put on paper certain interior acts which had passed only between me and Jesus. What will be the recompense that He will give to me? And Jesus, letting me hear His tender and sweet voice, told me, my daughter, as recompense for having written the hours of my passion, for each word you have written I will give you a kiss, a soul. And I, Luisa, my love, this is for me. And what will you give to those who will do them? And Jesus, if they do them together with me and with my own will, I will also give them a soul for each word they will recite, because the greater or lesser effectiveness of these hours of my passion is in the greater or lesser union that they have with me. By doing them with my will, the creature hides within my volition, and since it is my volition that acts, I can produce all the goods I want, even through one word alone, and this, for each time you will do them. Another time I was lamenting to Jesus, because after so many sacrifices to write these hours of the Passion, very few were the souls who were doing them. And He, my daughter, do not lament. Even if there were only one, you should be content. Would I not have suffered my whole passion even if one soul alone were to be saved? The same for you. One should never omit good because few avail themselves of it. All the harm is for those who do not take advantage of it. And just as my passion made my humanity acquire the merit as if all were saved, even though not all are saved, because my will was to save everyone, and I received merit according to what I wanted, not according to the profit which creatures would draw. The same for you. You will be rewarded depending on whether your will was identified with my will in wanting to do good to all. All the harm is for those who, though being able to, do not do them. These hours are the most precious of all, because they are nothing less than the repetition of what I did in the course of my mortal life, and what I continue to do in the most holy sacrament. When I hear these hours of my passion, I hear my own voice, my own prayers. In that soul I see my will, that is, wanting the good of all and repairing for all, and I feel drawn to dwell in her, to be able to do what she herself does within her. Oh, how I would love that even one single soul for each town did these hours of my passion. I would hear myself in each town, and my justice, greatly indignant during these times, would be placated in part. November 4th, 1914, Volume 11. The new and continuous way to meditate the Passion. I, Luisa, was doing the hours of the Passion, and Jesus, all pleased, told me, my daughter, if you knew what great satisfaction I feel in seeing you repeating these hours of my passion, always repeating them, over and over again, you would be happy. It is true that my saints have meditated on my passion and have comprehended how much I suffered, melting in tears of compassion, so much so as to feel consumed for love of my pains, but not in such a continuous way, and repeated many times in this order. Therefore I can say that you are the first one to give me this pleasure, so great and special, as you keep fragmenting within you, hour by hour, my life and what I suffered. And I feel so drawn that, hour by hour, I give you this food and I eat the same food with you, doing what you do together with you. Know, however, that I will reward you abundantly with new light and new graces, and even after your death, each time souls on earth will do these hours of my passion, in heaven I will clothe you with ever new light and glory. November 6th, 1914, Volume 11. The soul who does the hours of the Passion makes the life of Jesus her own and does his same office. As I, Luisa, continued the usual hours of the Passion, my lovable Jesus told me, "My daughter, the world is in continuous act of renewing my passion, and since my immensity envelopes everything, inside and outside the creatures, from their contact I am forced to receive nails, thorns, scourges, scorns, spit, and all the rest which I suffered in the Passion, and still more. Now, at the contact with souls who do these hours of my Passion, I feel the nails being removed, the thorns shattered, the wounds soothed, the spit taken away. I feel I am repaid in good for the evil that others do to me, and in feeling that their contact does no harm to me, but good, I lean more and more on them. In addition to this, returning to speak about these hours of the Passion, blessed Jesus said, "My daughter, know that by doing these hours the soul takes my thoughts and makes them her own. She takes my reparations, prayers, desires, affections, and even my most intimate fibers, and makes them her own. And rising up between heaven and earth, she does my same office, and as co-redemptrix, she says with me, Ecce ego, mit me, here I am, send me, I want to repair for all, answer for all, and impetrate good for all." October 13th, 1916, Volume 11. How the angels are around the soul who does the hours of the Passion. These hours are sweet little sips that souls give to Jesus. I, Luisa, was doing the hours of the Passion, and blessed Jesus told me, "My daughter, in the course of my mortal life, thousands and thousands of angels were the cortege of my humanity, gathering everything I did, my steps, my works, my words, and even my sighs, my pains, the drops of my blood, in sum, everything. They were the angels in charge of my custody and of paying me honor, obedient to my every wish. They would rise to and descend from heaven to bring to the Father what I was doing. Now these angels have a special office, and as the soul remembers my life, my passion, my blood, my wounds, my prayers, they come around this soul and gather her words, her prayers, her acts of compassion for me, her tears and her offerings. They unite them to mine, and they bring them before my majesty to renew for me the glory of my own life. The delight of the angels is so great that, reverent, they listen to what the soul says and pray together with her. So, with what attention and respect must the soul do these hours, thinking that the angels hang upon her lips to repeat after her what she says. July 12th, 1918, Volume 12 Effects of the Passion of Jesus. I, Luisa, was praying for a dying soul with a certain fear and anxiety when my lovable Jesus came and told me, "My daughter, why do you fear? Don't you know that for each word on my passion, for each thought, compassion, reparation, memory of my pains, as many ways of electric communication open between me and the soul, and therefore the soul keeps adorning herself with as many different beauties? She has done the hours of my passion, and I will receive her as daughter of my passion, clothed with my blood and adorned with my wounds. This flower has grown inside your heart, so I bless it and I receive it in my heart as a favorite flower." And while he was saying this, a flower came out of my heart and took flight toward Jesus. October 24th, 1925, Volume 18. One who thinks about the Passion of Jesus keeps Jesus company, but one who lives in the divine will finds the Passion of Jesus in act and repeats it within herself. Jesus, my daughter, thinking about my passion, compassionating me in my pains, is very pleasing to me. I feel I am not alone in my pains, but I have with me the company of the creature, because of whom I suffer and whom I love so much, and as I have her with me, my suffering becomes sweeter for me. To repeat my passion and act in the creature is different from one who only thinks about and compassionates my pains. The first is an act of my life, which takes my place in order to repeat my pains, and I feel I am given back the effects and the value of a divine life. On the other hand, when one thinks about my pains and compassionates me, it is the mere company of the creature that I feel. But do you know in whom I can repeat the pains of my passion and act? In one who has my will as center of life. My will alone is one single act which has no succession of acts. This single act is as though fixed to one point which never moves, and this point is eternity. And while being one single act, prime act, endless act, its circumference is so immense that nothing can escape it. It embraces everything and everyone with one single embrace, because everything starts from that prime act as one single act. So, the creation, the redemption, and the sanctification are one single act for the divinity, and only because it is one single act, it has the power to make all acts its own, as if they were one alone. Now, one who lives in my will possesses this single act, and it is no wonder that she takes part in the pains of my passion as though an act. June 17th, 1927, Volume 22. How the will of God is everything. She sees Father Annibale again, who tells her of his surprises. After this, I, Luisa, found myself outside of myself, and while looking for my sweet Jesus, I encountered Father di Francia. He was all cheerful, and he told me, "Do you know how many beautiful surprises I found? I did not think it would be so when I was on earth, though I thought I had done good by publishing the hours of the Passion. But the surprises I found are marvelous, enchanting, of a rarity never before seen. All the words regarding the Passion of our Lord changed into light, one more beautiful than the other, all braided together. And these lights grow more and more as creatures do the hours of the Passion, so more lights add to the first. But what surprised me the most were the few sayings published by me about the divine will. Each saying changed into a sun, and these suns, investing all the lights with their rays, form such a surprise of beauty that one remains enraptured, enchanted. You cannot imagine how surprised I was at seeing myself in the midst of these lights and these suns, how content I was, and I thanked our highest good, Jesus, who had given me the occasion and the grace to do it. You too, thank him on my behalf. Pope St. Pius X to St. Annibale di Francia. Father, this book should be read while kneeling. It is Jesus Christ who is speaking.